Hello, beautiful souls. So prior to starting this reading video, I really hesitated to create this video because I couldn't quite figure out the purpose of it. So I was sort of internally asking my guides, like, what is the purpose of this video? Because a lot of my videos, I intend to be either reading into a situation to maybe inform you of some energy dynamics that could be going on, or if I'm speaking on a topic, I like to try and provide some kind of guidance or information that could help you related to that topic. The thing about the energy coming through that, by the way, really wanted to be put into a video form, even though I have no idea what this is going to look like or what it's going to be exactly. But the thing about this energy is it felt emotionally a bit chaotic and a bit uncertain. Like, it doesn't come with a feeling of resolution. It doesn't come with this strong sense of a conclusion, like, okay, this is what seems to be going on, and this might be the best path forward. It just doesn't quite feel that way. And that's sort of inherent to how you are experiencing the energy yourself if this message is for you. It feels like something really has no resolution. It just continues to be, and there's a part of you that may feel like you're fighting that or trying to control or change that, and yet it just is. It just continues to be. And so as I was trying to feel into what the purpose of this video is, my guides answered, it's presence. It's offering presence to this topic and to this message, even if it doesn't feel clear, even if there isn't some sort of resolution where things are tied up in a bow. It's still important because we are going to be shedding a light on something that there is a certain group experiencing, and just giving it some presence and some attention, while it's not meant to really offer a quote unquote solution or a clear path forward, it's meant to reconnect you, with your inner voice. And from there, the path forward will be revealed to you internally. So it's not like I'm giving you that path or that solution. It's meant to be found within, but this video is meant to help you trust and reconnect more with that inner compass, with that inner guidance. And so I feel something about just giving some presence, some focus, some attention to something that you've been feeling here that's been very heavy and very confusing is going to maybe shed a light for you on what that path forward looks like for you. Maybe not immediately, but I feel like gradually over time, you're going to feel more clarity as a result of just having this part of you seen. Because something I'm getting around this message is if you are experiencing this, most likely you feel very alone in it. I'm getting that this is something you probably feel like you can't really talk about, most likely with anyone, maybe with like one or two people, but for many of you, you can't really speak about this to anyone, not because you don't have anyone in your life who would listen to you, but because they would listen, but they wouldn't be able to understand. And you recognize that on some level. The reason that they can't understand is because they have not gone through a similar situation. And in fact, so much of what you are experiencing here seems to contradict a lot of what they believe and the way that they think for themselves, how they perceive the world, which makes sense because you are actually here to be a disruptive force on this planet. Your frequency is meant to disrupt the collective in a very sacred way and to trigger expansion and collective ascension through being disruptive to the norm, to what is considered accepted or understood. And so this video is actually going to be for a certain group of divine feminines who have been on a very complex twin flame journey. And my guides wanted me to be very specific about that because this reading is meant to be specific, and I don't know who it's going to reach, but I feel that whoever it's for, you really need to hear it. And that is why I'm putting it out on this channel, even though I know it's going to be kind of niche in a way. But I also feel I have to do justice to this message because if you're part of this group, you're on a very important mission in a way here on Earth. And again, you are this sacred disruptor, but I feel that consciously, it's not like you chose this. It's not like you wanted to be a disruptive force on the planet, or you wanted to constantly feel this tension within you of being the contradictor in a way. In fact, if anything, I feel that you may have come from a past of being more of like a rule follower or even a people pleaser at times. You may have a past of being non-confrontational or wanting to make the people around you happy or to kind of be agreeable because you're someone who hasn't necessarily seen the purpose in conflict just for the sake of conflict. And I feel that people often misunderstand this trait about you, where they might see you as non-confrontational, but I'm getting that it's because you are here to promote unity consciousness, and you understand that so much of the world is programmed into division consciousness. And so people are programmed to be very divisive and to, in essence, block themselves from the frequency of both giving but also receiving true unconditional love, because they are trained to be so divisive about so many different things. And I feel you are one who recognizes the value of emanating that unconditional love towards others and that softness towards others. But at the same time, your frequency and your very existence is naturally contradictory to the status quo and to what so many people think and believe, that there is this natural tension that is created, even though, again, you may feel like this is something you didn't necessarily want or ask for. Your existence itself is a contradiction to collective unconsciousness because you're here to wake people up. And so what I'm getting is like you are a natural rebel, even though that isn't necessarily what you want to be. Again, you don't want to be rebelling just for the sake of rebelling, but it's your nature to wake people up. It's what happens just through you existing. And so what I'm getting is that part of your spiritual journey here on Earth has been being a twin flame. And this has added further layers of complication. And this is really coming to the surface now. And the reason that this reading came up for me today is actually because I woke up in the middle of the night, or at least for me, it was the middle of the night because I'm not really a morning person. So I woke up at 5 a.m., which is so early for me. And I felt hit with this wave of collective energy from this particular group of divine feminines. And I kept picking up on this like divine feminine collective that was just like circling through these looping thoughts, almost like in some kind of like mental or emotional agony or dissonance internally, like fighting with themselves. And what I kept picking up on is they were on this very unique twin flame path that needed to be addressed in a video. And I stayed awake for about an hour and was kind of journaling and working through some ideas about this. And then once I kind of solidified this idea, I immediately felt tired again and was able to fall back asleep. And that was my sign, like, okay, clearly I was meant to get this message and save it. And then once the message kind of started to get clearer, I fell back asleep because that was the purpose of me waking up in the middle of the night like this, to prepare me for doing this video. So I'm going to lay out what I'm picking up here. Again, this is very specific to a certain group of people, but I'm picking up on a divine feminine who is in this situation where she is connected to a divine masculine and has been really eternally. This is a twin flame. So you are bonded on the soul level and very much tethered, except it's not like a tether that can be cut. It's an energy thing. So you always feel like you're sort of orbiting this person, like you're always boomeranged back to them in a sense. You're just very much forever connected on a soul level. And yet what happened with this divine masculine in the physical is I'm getting that they have experienced a lot of distortion and a lot of heaviness, especially the patterning and the dynamics that they took on in their early life as a human here on Earth. And so this divine masculine seems to have, I'm getting the word avoidant, so they may have very avoidant attachment style tendencies, they have a tendency to go unconscious physically. And so it's very painful for you as a divine feminine because you feel their soul and your connectedness to their soul. There's no way for you to escape this connection in a sense, even though at times I feel there have been moments where you've almost resented the way that you're so connected to someone on a soul level. But at the same time, deep down, you know, you have such like an appreciation and a love for it. It's very complicated because at times there's this feeling of, why am I experiencing this? Like, why can't I just move on and be normal and let this go? There's almost that resentment, but the other side of that is this deep love and appreciation that you get to experience something that's been so profound and so ancient and so deep and so cosmic. And so it's like a very complex relationship that you have with this divine masculine, but also with the twin flame journey in general. It has activated you to your own spiritual awakening and also to your own journey of self-love. So I feel this immense gratitude at times for that part of the journey, but also this intense feeling at times of like, get me out of this. Like, I can't do this anymore. Why can't I just let this person go? And the feeling is that you have come so far, and on your journey of self-love, you've actually been able to, in most ways in the physical, really individuate yourself from this situation and kind of untangle yourself from some of the more challenging aspects that were showing up physically between you and this divine masculine. What I mean by that is because they still have this tendency to often go unconscious. It's like it put a lot on you emotionally. And I feel that it's complicated because you always feel this like eternal flame, this eternal connectedness to your twin flame, to this divine masculine. And yet at the same time, whenever you've tried to ground this connection in the physical in a traditional, conventional way, I feel like it's always blown up in your face. Like it's never worked. It just doesn't feel like it works as a traditional, conventional relationship. And when you try to force it into that, you end up being the one left holding the bag. You end up being the one doing all of the emotional work, the inner work, the leg work, and like literally like burning yourself out to try and make this work. But I feel like there's a part of your brain that thinks, well, what do I do with this? Because if it doesn't work as a physical, traditional, in-person relationship, or it just burns me out whenever I try to do that, but I also know that I am eternally connected to this other person in a way that isn't going away, then what box do I put this into? Like, where do I go from here? And so I feel that I'm picking up on a group of divine feminines who are at this place where it's like a part of you is fighting what you already know, which is that you know you've learned how to find happiness and fulfillment apart from needing this to look a certain way with this divine masculine in the physical. But it's almost a fear of like, am I doing this wrong? Or should I be doing this another way? But this is what seems to work best for you and what your heart seems to want right now. And trying to do it any other way doesn't really seem to work. And so it's like you're on this path where many people around you are like, what are you doing? How are you still connected with this person in some way? But then also, I don't know, living this more unconventional life in some regard. And yet it works for you and you know it works for you. And so part of the message here is to simply trust yourself because you know your path, you know what is working for you, even if it doesn't make sense to others. But to also recognize, well, one message my guides really wanted to get through is please know that if you are a twin flame, you are an extremely strong soul. You are someone who has lived many, 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 many lifetimes because the twin flame path is not easy. It is one of the most challenging spiritual pathways that you can choose as a soul. It's also one of the most powerful because it will really reconnect you with that core of who you are. And I know you've experienced that. But the sense that I get is that you're almost feeling like you're living in split realities right now, which is part of what makes the twin flame journey so challenging because it does make you feel that way. On the one hand, you feel that part of you is in the 5D, and you're experiencing this profound connectedness spiritually to this other soul. But then, of course, you're still here physically. And if that other person in physical human form kind of dips in and out of consciousness spiritually, or maybe dealing with a lot of wounded patterns or dynamics spiritually, then it can cause you to feel like you're living in split realities where a part of you is still so connected spiritually to that divine masculine, and then another part of you is trying to continue living your life and supporting yourself and being productive in your own life. But it's very challenging because it's almost like you're always feeling that 5D reality pulling on you, that connectedness on a soul level. And I feel what's challenging here is you feel your twin flames energy supporting you in the spiritual realm, and it's essential to you. It's not going anywhere. It's pervasive, and yet it's not showing up for you and supporting you physically. And so for the divine feminine I'm speaking to here, I feel that either you've learned to individuate and support yourself physically in certain ways, apart from a traditional physical union with your divine masculine, or for many of you, you've opened up to the potential of letting yourself be loved and supported in the physical by other forms of masculine energy, romantically or otherwise. But for some of you, this would be like a romantic soulmate or some form of divine partnership or relationship or connection with a masculine energy who isn't your twin flame, but who you have a balanced and harmonious connection with in the physical, who is showing up for you and supporting you physically. The complication is here, I feel like there's a level of like guilt and uncertainty that you may be feeling because you know that you still have this unbreakable spiritual connection to this twin flame. Like the best way I can describe it is your twin flame divine masculine. It's like they are the flame and like this eternal flame, but they're not providing the hearth right now. So it's this eternal flame without groundedness, without support. So you know that that flame is always going to be there, but without that support, you feel ungrounded. And so you've learned to create or attract that support, whether it's for yourself, just like on an individual level, or whether that's been coming to you through a romantic connection with a different masculine energy. But then there's this feeling of guilt or uncertainty, like, isn't my divine masculine supposed to be both of these things? And there's this like looping thought pattern coming up here because so few people, although we're all souls incarnated here, so few people are aware in the way that you are of what's happening in the 5D. So it's like few people have to live in this like split reality because they spend so little time in the 5D, and most of it's unconscious anyway. It's like maybe when they're sleeping, they're in the 5D, but not really consciously aware of it. Whereas you're kind of splitting time between the 5D and the 3D. So there's a part of you exploring the astral realm, exploring the cosmos, so connected with your soul. And of course, as a result, connected with your twin flames energy and especially like their higher self form. And yet at the same time, you are here, you are human, you are meant to be thriving, happy, loved, supported in the physical as a human. And I feel you've been learning to honor that more human part of yourself. And yet there's this feeling of like, how do I reconcile these two parts of myself and maybe these two like aspects of even like my romantic life? Again, a part of you that is eternally connected to your twin flame divine masculine, and a part of you that is allowing yourself to possibly be romantically supported in other ways in the physical. And the kind of message emerging here is like, why are you fighting what works for you and what is? Like, what if you can just allow it to be? What if you can just trust that you're on a very unique path here on earth and that your existence is the purpose, your existence is the mission? What if the brain is just trying to manufacture something to figure out here, but what if you're perfectly on track, even in the complication of it, even in the unknown of it? What if you could trust yourself a little bit more and trust that if it feels right and aligned for you to be letting yourself to be supported in certain ways in the physical, what if you can let go of the guilt and allow in that love and that support and trust yourself that you know what you're doing, that you've evolved to this point for this reason, and that Maybe your existence is meant to be split between you having this higher awareness in the fifth dimension, in this higher level of consciousness, while at the same time, yes, being human, but maybe there's nothing to reconcile. Maybe those are just two aspects of you that were always meant to coexist. And through allowing them to coexist, what if you are emitting this kind of powerful frequency that people are feeling that is changing them even on a core level? And so this wasn't even really a reading or a podcast video as much as just a spotlight meant to shed light on a specific dynamic. And if this is the dynamic that you are experiencing, then I hope that this encouraged you to trust yourself a little bit more, to release guilt around letting yourself be loved, and to keep taking one step forward on this journey, whatever that means for you, even in the unknown. So that is really all I wanted to say here. This is such an unconventional video. If you would like further support in working with this energy and finding more peace and stability within yourself right now, because I know it's very difficult and many of us who are empaths are struggling to find that inner stability, but you are so worth feeling and having that. And I create subliminals that are meant to help you reconnect more with that inner peace and clarity, and really to just reconnect more with that core of who you are. So if you do have my subliminals app, Sound and Soulful, and you're connecting with this reading, then a couple that I would recommend are my Divine Physical Stability subliminal, which I've mentioned a lot lately because I've personally been using it a lot. And this was actually designed for people who struggle with anxiety and panic attacks and waves of anxiousness, but it can be used in general as well, just to help you feel more calm and peaceful and stable and grounded within yourself. Especially on this journey, it's so important to come back to that state of inner peace and confidence within yourself. But I would also recommend my Twin Flame 7 chakra clearing subliminal, because if you're a twin flame, regardless of what you desire for the future of this journey, this will really help you to clear out any projections you may have picked up from others, judgments from others, limiting beliefs within yourself, to really come back to that clear, high vibrational, magnetic state of unconditional love that is so magnetic, not just for attracting what you desire in your love life, but really in your life generally, to attract in success and abundance and happiness and connection in a way that is really deeply connected with your heart and deeply fulfilling for you. So these are the two subliminals I would most recommend for this reading. Again, if you do already have the app, and if you don't have it yet, I will leave a download link to it in the pinned comment and description box below. Otherwise, I hope you are doing well. Take care of yourself. Let me know in the comments if anything connected for you personally. And of course, if this did resonate, I would love for you to subscribe here on YouTube as well. Join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings. Have an amazing day, and I will connect with you here again in the next reading.